Have you noticed how many aesthetics there are now? Cottagecore, older brothercore, rare aesthetic, being Australian. Thanks to TikTok, everything has a name, and with so many floating around, some are bound to be pretty strange. So to see how cooked we really are, I'm digging through the worst and weirdest current trends. From performative males to Labubu and even the romanticization of lockdown, you can probably guess how well this went. Starting off with fashion. I'm sure you've seen how chaotic it's become. Social media has made hundreds of obscure, weirdly specific styles that seem to pop up and die within the same week. Maybe you've fallen down a rabbit hole yourself and ended up on Depop hunting down jackets that Jesse Pinkman would have worn in 2008. Or perhaps it's even worse. Perhaps you or someone you love falls into one of the 7 deadly fashion sins. The old money look has been around forever. It's timeless, low-key, and traditional. Also pretentious. It's what TikTok started calling outfits like these. With high-quality materials and tailored fits, it's historically been the style of choice for families with generational wealth. Things change though, and now you'll see it more on 24-year-olds renting Lamborghinis and selling courses on how to sell courses. Old money versus no money. How is a Cybertruck the shining example of old money?
Always choose class in a world of cringe.
Just like quiet luxury, this style is really about emulating the practices of rich people. Not outwardly displaying logos, keeping color palettes minimal, and trying to flex in an understated, nonchalant kind of way on the 8 AM bus replacement. On the flip side of this is styles like older brothercore. It's still taking ages to put a fit together, but the intention is different. Baggy jeans, thrifted t-shirts, and deceptively expensive jumpers are carefully blended to create the spitting image of your brother in 2006. Get a little closer and you might hear them muttering phrases like tapped in, grunge, or net spend. This look came from a renewed fascination in the 2000s and early 2010s, specifically the culture around skateboarding, music, and TV. These guys aren't trying to look wealthy, it's all about connecting with nostalgia and super niche online communities. You could almost say the same for the performative male, except they're a little more sinister. Relatively speaking, the term is new, but the phenomenon is anything but. Also known as the Macho Man, not Macho Man, a performative male is aggressively interested in astrology, tote bags, and wired Apple earphones. On their own, none of these hobbies are inherently problematic. Reading emotionally charged books on the train, collecting records and vintage clothes, but it's when they're combined that the problems begin. Many see the full picture as an obvious attempt to craft an aesthetic that appeals to the female gaze. It's inauthentic, cultivated to make them appear as alluring and non-threatening as possible. I'm a normal guy, I'm a swell guy.
But when I get a little matcha in me.
However you see it, it seems a lot of people have already made up their mind about these guys. It's been endlessly satirized online, with multiple large-scale performative male competitions. Just like a virus though, this aesthetic is merely the latest mutation of a broader trend. Coming from the same strain is Safe Sleazy, or Safe Greasy, depending on who it is. Hallmarks here are mullets, mustaches, and band t-shirts. Again, while there's nothing wrong with any of this, it hasn't stopped people associating it with a specific, mildly irritating type of dude. Safe Sleazy and the performative male share one more thing in common: Patient Zero, the 2010s hippie. But what if you took one of these guys, swapped their matcha for a white monster, and gave them a vial of research chemicals made by one of those Instagram street vendors? Well, you'd get the gym bro. Gym fashion has certainly had its highs and lows. Just look at Ziz's shorts in the 2000s. But singlets, tracksuits, and short shorts have been around forever. Only recently have we seen things change. From masks to form-fitting superhero costumes, the Iron Dojo isn't the place it once was. It sometimes feels more like a fashion show than a place to work out. And you know what? That's okay, because in the face of all of these unhinged outfits, we share a common enemy: gloves and 5-toed shoes. I don't want to bear witness to the segmented locomotion of each individual toe. If you're wearing these, I can hear you before I see you. There's a grotesque tapping with every step as your digits rise and fall independently. Moving on, let's talk about Gorpcore. This is easily the most harmless archetype we're covering and also the most practical. Gorpcore was coined in the 2010s as clothing previously designed for outdoor use began to gain traction in streetwear. Utilitarian garments with a bunch of pockets, straps, and gadgets. You'll find muted, earthy color palettes layered over durable materials like Gore-Tex. You may have seen this in the rise of brands like Arc'teryx. It isn't your traditional luxury brand like Louis Vuitton, but it still commands a high price. $1,000 jackets, $3,000 coats. The key difference is it's much easier to justify buying because it's functional. At least that's what you can tell your friends when you show up to dinner wearing an outfit built for Mount Everest. The final deadly fashion archetype is what I like to call the algorithm. It's a little harder to pin down because this person takes a little bit of everything and changes it every few months. The only thing that's consistent is that all of their ideas come from their For You page. Whatever's going crazy on TikTok or Instagram that week is what they'll buy, even if it's completely incompatible with their previous obsession. You'll find them wearing the new viral Sheen shirt and walking around with whatever metal drinking device is currently in vogue. More recently though, they might have one of these little guys hanging from their bag. What is it? Why is it there? And why does it cost so much? Well, I found out the hard way. Now, hoarding trinkets and toys wasn't always viewed favorably. If you were an adult fan of comic books, trading cards, or small plastic bricks even a decade ago, you'd know this. People used to chuck around words like geek, dork, nerd, and weenie. They only stopped because their hobbies became cool. Marvel made superheroes mainstream. YouTubers made it so grown men could rip open booster packs without fear of being labeled a goblin. But TikTok took things to the next level. I'm sure you've seen videos of people fighting tooth and nail over Pokemon cards at Costco, or others crying about receiving fake Labubu dolls. But why is this happening? Why have we become so obsessed with specific products and how they make us look? Collecting has changed. Today, a lot of people only do it to add to an aesthetic identity. Items become props and accessories. People aren't buying this stuff for themselves, they're buying it to tell others about themselves. It shows that you're tapped in, up to date with everyone else. We all do it, just look at the shelf behind me. I might not be the best example though. Regardless, short form media has put this into overdrive. It tells you the products you need and then you only have a short window to buy them to actually connect with the community. Otherwise, it just disappears. Of course, we saw what this meant for Pokemon. Every new set launch is like the midnight release of Halo 3. This highlights a bigger problem with modern hobbies though, an even darker reason behind their rapid and fleeting growth: the scalper. There's nothing worse than waiting in line for a new drop and slowly realizing the person in front of you has other plans.
Yeah, I'm only grabbing like 30 this time.
Oh, your kid wants one. Don't worry, they'll be up on Facebook Marketplace tonight. Only $100 over retail. These guys are unique. They're not buying the product for themselves or even to flex it. Instead, the internet has made certain items so desirable that they can make a living camping outside a Costco for trading cards. It's simple. TikTok makes everyone want to be the guy with a full set of prismatic evolutions. You can't find any at retail though, because scalpers know this too. They've bought up the supply and can now freely dictate the price. Unfortunately, by this point people are in such a frenzy to buy that they'll pay anything, and the cycle continues. In other news, the Travis Scott x Erewhon Dubai Chocolate Labubu Matcha Latte is finally releasing. After literal days of speculation and rumors, we'll finally know what this unholy combination tastes like. I joke, but for some people this shit is dead serious. As a level 100 consumer and hoarder myself, I had to see what all the fuss was about, starting with these furry blind boxes. Now, I didn't know this, but Labubu is far from new. It was first released in 2015 as part of The Monsters, a series by designer Karsing Lung. Not necessarily an instant success, it was only in 2019 that things started to take off. This came in the form of a partnership with Pop Mart, a Chinese toy retailer that specialized in blind boxes and figurines. By this point, designer figures were already a proven formula, but Pop Mart did things differently. They were cheaper, randomized, and accessible. Anyway, when they started appearing on celebrities in mid-2024, they were set and ready to explode. And that's exactly what happened. It's also why I bought some to conduct a little experiment. Pokemon vs Labubu. Both have secret rares worth hundreds, and both are hoarded by resellers for that exact reason. In fact, most Labubu blind boxes never even make it to shelves. But how much value is the average person really getting? I'm putting them head to head to see which loses or makes more money. Naturally, none of this was available for retail, so I spent 180 Australian pennies on each category. Only one will emerge victorious. So for the Pokemon cards, we're looking for one of the evolutions. Specifically, the one to get with this set that could be like $500 raw is the Umbreon. Who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. Crocodile water. We have a Ogerpon or something like that. The Fire Monkey. No. This is just a mask. I think this Pokemon is just a mask. Last we have Common Chimp. Oh, we got a Master Ball. Kind of looks like a VTuber of some sort. An EX. Another trainer. Oh, okay. I can see something. Now, if you've seen any of the rare ones for this set, you'll know this is the pattern you want to look for. And it is a...
I'm sorry, everybody follow me.
Obelisk, Vaporeon, Zoroark. Ooh, we've got a very shiny A-Spec. Rose Toy. Alright, it's a Master Ball, and the Master Ball is on... Fuck! If it was the Umbreon Master Ball, the challenge would have already been over. An EX. Another EX. Remember, even just one of the evolutions would be fantastic. It's Monkey Dory! Final 2 packs. One of them could hold the key to, I don't know, making a little bit of money back.
Bruh.
Alright, last chance. Gabite. Another VTuber. Mystical Potion. Beldum. A selection of Wiggle Tits. Monkey Dory hanging off the tree, hollow. We're near to the end of this pack. A shield. And finally, we have... Okay, it's textured. Oh shit. But we've pulled a... Okay. Let me sleeve that before I damage it with my sweaty fingers. It's a very nice looking card. Unfortunately, even if I'd paid retail, Pokemon didn't come close to breaking even. Let's see if Labubu fares any better. 2 One Piece, Luffy would be nice, Zoro. This is the secret rare. If we can somehow pull that, it'll pay for everything. There's also 2 Labubu, big into energy. We have this one, Love, Hope, Serenity, Luck, Happiness, and Loyalty. Comment which one of these you're feeling the most right now. Maybe it's loyalty, maybe you're gonna subscribe after this. Maybe it's happiness. Maybe you're happy that I've finally uploaded. Or maybe it's a secret. Now, these are the ones that I'm most concerned about being completely fake, fabricated. It is always possible. I mean, I bought them from eBay. I didn't get them from the official Pop Mart web store. A stand. Now, first figure of the day is... Nice, okay, this is nice. The print quality, though, is really great. Doesn't seem like there's any real errors or, like, bleeding. We have a Bitcoin stand. Any One Piece people know why there's Bitcoin? I didn't know these guys were buying that shit. Bitcoin Sabo, and he's got a flaming pole. Now for the second one. This is cool. I don't know who it is, but it's cool. He's got a condom on his tuft for some reason. He's got a little Harry Potter lightning scar there. There you go. Honestly, I do get it. If you're a fan of Labubu and One Piece, this is a solid pickup. But now it's time for the big boys. So this one we actually have a better chance of pulling than the Gear 5 Luffy. Interesting. Very fluffy. I don't know, he's a bit fucky looking. He's a bit wonky. I don't know if this is a factory defect or maybe he's just come out the womb wrong. And you can sort of see the stitching here, which is, I don't know if that's a good sign or if that's just what most of them are like. And here we have the final box. Fuck, tough little critter. Happiness. It's a nice color, actually. I feel like these two complement each other pretty well. Has a little bony protuberance coming out of here. I don't know why. You can't see it on camera, but I promise you it's there. Forgot to show this, but you get a cool little card for them too. That's always nice. Hold up. I think they messed up and sent me an extra one. What? If you're tired of spending $5 a pop on coffees or canned caffeine, try Gamersubs. It's sugar-free and at 40 cents per serve, a whole lot cheaper. Look how yummy. They got the blue stuff from Fortnite. With code MINT, you too can be a beast on the keys and a freak in the Excel spreadsheets. Don't just take my word for it. That's code MINT for 10% off store-wide, plus free samples with no shipping cost. Let's get back to burning money. Surprisingly, Labubu came really close to breaking even, and I was left with a little more on my hands than just cardboard. That being said, after carefully reviewing the data, I can safely conclude that the only loser here was me. I contributed to the scalper economy and accessorized my hobbies for content. But I did prove a point. When you make it all about the money, the performance, the aesthetic, you've already lost. Still, fashion and collectibles aren't the only victims of the aesthetic apocalypse. It gets worse and a lot weirder. For example, recently you might have seen these rare aesthetic posts. Some are ironic, others relatable, and some so ridiculously specific that it's almost disturbing. Those are the ones I'm interested in. The whole point of these is to capture a sensory experience or memory in only a few images. It could be personal, fleeting, or something that only a handful of people would ever know about. Like pre-release 3DS models and colors from 2010. Or the experience of making noodles with your cousins at night. I don't even know how you'd come up with that. The weird thing is though, their bizarre specificity isn't damaging their reach. Some of these have hundreds of thousands of likes, millions of views. But how? For starters, perhaps they're a bit more relatable than they appear. Like this one. Unsupervised YouTube access wasn't rare at all. It was pretty much the universal experience of Gen Z. Everyone saw a couple things they probably shouldn't have. Nostalgia plays a role here too. A lot of the things labeled as rare aesthetics just flat out don't exist anymore. This era of YouTube is gone, so it's nice to see someone acknowledge it at all. As for the stranger entries in this trend, they also have a common through line. Childhood memories. Rare aesthetic. Going to swimming lessons and being jealous of your mum sitting in the cafe. That might sound insane to some people, but for others, it's a memory they otherwise thought was completely unique. Like yeah, eating chips after swimming is weirdly such a core memory. Real quick, let me address the 5 other Australians watching this. I know you're out there. Remember these swing sets? What about these glass tables? Where did those come from? I'm being so serious. Everyone had the exact same models, just in various states of decay. I don't know if there was something going on there, but whoever made these had an absolute chokehold on our backyards. Going global again, the rare aesthetic videos I see most often are romanticizing holidays. Christmas and Halloween in the 2000s, but I think these are a little more than just nostalgia. I mean, in general, things looked cooler then. The movies, media, and toys for seasonal holidays were undeniably peak. Stores went all in with decorations every year. Christmas movies were still actually being made. Are we really gonna go out with Elf being the last holiday classic? I don't know, drop a comment if Christmas fell off. You know what is just nostalgia though? 2020 TikTok. Remember the 20-year nostalgia cycle? What if we made it every 5 years? I've noticed a growing trend recently that looks back fondly on the year 2020. I might finally be getting too old for these because wasn't that like the worst year ever? It's crazy to see it memorialized in vibrant edits and TikToks. I've also seen this look referred to as indie kid, which is an aesthetic that emerged during the indoors period. Again, it uses high saturation, contrast, and grainy filters to achieve an almost dreamlike feel. But these people aren't the only ones trying to relive the past through aesthetics. Technology might be doing the exact same thing. Do me a favor and quickly look at your phone. The things look kind of off. If you have an iPhone and recently updated it, there's a good chance they do. There's also a good chance it's 3 times slower, but that's besides the point. All of the app icons look a little different. They're almost 3D, with gradients, shadows, and glassy textures. The camera icon is now a lens, not just a flat outline. While this seems inconsequential, it's actually a bigger deal than you think. Historically, Apple has been a key player in major UI changes. They helped popularize the shift to flat design with iOS 7, and now, more than a decade later, things are due for a change. So we can finally ask, is the controversial era of flat design over? And if it is that even a good thing? For the last 10 years, it's been everywhere. Logos were simplified, colors disappeared, and everything began to look the same. Of course, there was some intention behind it. Flat design reduces visual load and is less distracting. Still, one significant downside is it looks boring as shit. There's nothing interesting going on here. It's cold and it feels like all of these companies are diligently following the same rulebook. Apple's new liquid glass breaks all of these rules though. For the first time in ages, they're doing something that I've sorely missed. Making completely pointless bullshit. There is no reason for the lock screen to pop up in such a satisfying way. They didn't have to make every surface translucent or frosted, perfectly refracting whatever's behind it. Look at some of these animations.
Ooh, look at that.
This icon looks like it tastes good. I haven't said that since Windows 7. Still, calling this update divisive is putting it lightly. The keyboard sucks. It should be called Liquid Arse.
Software engineer here.
Many people, perhaps even yourself, see it as just a gimmick, and that's fair enough. But I do think it's a step in the right direction. It's a step away from a style that a lot of us are fatigued by. And who knows, maybe more companies will start to take risks when it comes to graphic design. We could be on the brink of a complete shift. After all, UI isn't the only place people are starting to get sick of bland aesthetics. In all of my videos, there's one area I rarely touch on. Partly because my room looks like it was designed by me, but mostly because I had no idea how deep the interior design rabbit hole went. It's gotten even crazier recently, with dozens of bizarre internet aesthetics dictating how people design their homes. Oh, my house is cottagecore. You see the library? It's giving dark macadamia with a hint of old money. I personally find dopamine decor particularly interesting. In retaliation to popular styles like millennial grey, it reintroduces colour to people's rooms. There are no guidelines, rules, or even a basic need for things to look cohesive. The only requirement is to buy stuff that makes you happy. Weird couches, different coloured walls. As long as you like it, anything goes. Consequently, dopamine decor is usually maximalist. Spaces quickly become chaotic and cluttered as they fill up with personal items and decorations. Honestly, I'm all for this. Using decor that works for you is infinitely better than pretending this is what every dining room should look like. I'm not hungry anymore. Dark academia is another thing altogether. Defined by dark color palettes, gothic architecture, and moody lighting, it's basically evil old money. The name is new, but the look has been around for ages. Unsurprisingly, you'll see this all over TikTok, with people showing their room makeovers and giving advice on how to achieve it. Now, there's one more style I want to look at, and even though I don't think it has a name, you'll definitely recognize it. To get started, you'll need this rug, a huge Cause figure, 10 bear bricks, a poster of LeBron James sweating, and $10,000 a month for rent. This can only be done in a penthouse. Kanye West, hypebeasts, crypto millionaires, and naturally streamers all seem to be obsessed with this look. It's kind of the pinnacle of the whole collectibles and aesthetics discussion we were having before. Visually, it's like they all bought the same Sims DLC and hit copy and paste at slightly different locations. Of course, it isn't bad, it just doesn't feel very lived in or personal. Kanye's old house straight up looks like a liminal space, a defunct amusement park with all the animatronics left in place. As far as streamers go, it's far from the most outrageous setup. Even if they're hiding mounds of food just below the camera, it'll never rival the lair of Asmongold. While making this video, I think I learned a valuable lesson. Even in a world where personality is defined by possessions, collecting stuff for the sake of looking cool or following trends just isn't rewarding. Fashion, hobbies, games, everything moves too fast anyway. You're better off just doing your own thing. I don't think anyone has the energy to constantly reinvent themselves to fit in with the newest micro trends and aesthetics. Of course, it's fine to indulge in them, but when you're suddenly spending hundreds of dollars on collectibles or clothes, it doesn't hurt to step back and ask yourself, why?